observe his level of maturity. Is it old enough? What I'm about to say, if you fail to weigh that aspect, his level of maturity, you know what is going to happen? You are going to scandalize the child. So, oh, mommy, what do you mean? Welcome to another segment of Capsule of Hope. So dear friend, today's segment is going to be different. As you can already see, you see the background is different. Everything, the setup, everything is different. So today's segment is going to be special and it is different, completely different. So the other time I posted something and one of us asked me to explain further on what I've posted. So when I posted that, a person wanted clarification. So I told the person to go to my YouTube channel and then it will be explained there. And so what did I say? So let's read. You can't always protect your children from harsh realities of the world. This means that at some point in their lives, you need to find a way of helping them to understand some tough concepts like death, divorce, or racism. Yeah, it is true. Some of us, we think that certain things we do are not known to our children. It's just like they are not aware of certain things that go on in the family, but they are aware. I'm telling you, they may not actually grab the concept, but they are aware. And it is the responsibility of you, the parents, the mother, the father, to actually find a way, or a guardian, to find a way of helping the child to understand these basic concepts. It is your responsibility to do that. They are aware when something scary or sad happens. And so because they are aware of what goes on in the family, you need to find a way sometime to explain certain things to them. Don't just presume that they are not aware and then you try to brush it aside. And I know explaining some of these issues can be very complex, can be very difficult. For instance, issue like divorce or kind of separation, when the two parties are no more together, finding the right word to explain this to your child, to children, can be very difficult. About death, even my church members are old, but still I find it very difficult to break it down to their level of understanding, so that I will not be able to use those theological jargons. It is very difficult. So I know what I'm saying, but you have to do it. You don't presume they don't know or they are not aware of that. You need to find a way of explaining these things to them. So what will happen when you fail to explain these things to your children? If you fail to explain these things to your children or your child, one, there's going to be mistrust. It's not going to trust you again. So then problem can start from there, because it means that you don't trust him enough to explain these things to them, and then they don't also trust you enough to explain what is going on in their world to you. What would that lead to? That is going to lead to speculations. He will start forming his own assumptions, and that is dangerous. He will start asking some people for answers to those assumptions, that he forms in his mind or her mind. So it is good to explain these things to them, else that is what is going to lead to. You get it? Yeah. And also, failure to explain to your child will lead to hurt. You will be hurting his or her feelings. For instance, this child has been playing with the dad, and all of a sudden you guys decided not to stay together. And so the dad has to stay somewhere, the mom has to stay somewhere, and the child is torn in between, So the child stays with the dad or the mom, and a lot of questions popping in. He or she can't play with the dad anymore, and he starts asking questions in his mind. no explanation. So this child will get hurt. The child may not have the courage enough to be asking you, where is daddy? Some do ask, where's daddy, where's mom, where's mommy, and you don't have the courage, you don't know how to explain this concept, this reality of life to him or her. And he's hurt within, keeps on asking himself, why me? And also, even sometimes the child thinks that it is his fault or her fault that daddy is not around, that mom and dad are not together, feels the pain more than you, two of you, and no one talks to the child. What is going on? And as I said, failure to explain to your child will lead to breakdown in communication. Once you accept that responsibility of becoming a mother or a father, you become a psychologist, you become a counselor, you become a motivator, you become everything to the child, to an extent. So these are some of the roles you should play. When you are able to do that, you realize that the child will have that bond, kind of bonding with you. It strengthens the relationship you have with your child. But if you are not able to do it, there's not going to be that much bonding between you and your child. And so the question should be, what do you do before the conversation? Before you explain this concept to your child? You need to do certain things. You can't just wake up today and say that, come and sit down, I want to talk to you. No. And then you are not prepared. No, you need to prepare. You have to be on top of the issue. So you need to do certain things. So what do you do? What you have to do is that, first of all, remember that you are going to lead this conversation. The conversation is going to be led by you. Some of us, we don't know, so we jump into it, and you see that I want to tell you, once they start asking us tough questions, there we are not prepared. We mess up, we become angry, we shout, we start shouting, which shouldn't be the case. You start shouting to make up for your inadequacies. No. When you want to talk to children about complex realities of life, you need to prepare, or anything, you need to prepare. That's one. Secondly, you need to observe the style your child uses in communication. If actually you want the conversation to be engaging so that your child will participate, that's what we call a conversation. It's not lecture. Not that you are coming to lecture your child, no. So if you want it to be engaging, you need to first of all know his style of communication. Once you know the style of his or her communication, it makes the work easier because it will be engaging. You say these, you'll be able to also add his views and be able to tell you what he or she knows. So it makes the work easier, not that he stands there looking at you as you continue lecturing, becomes boring, he becomes angry. No. The third one, observe his level of maturity. Try to observe your child, level of maturity. Is it old enough? What I'm about to say, if you fail to weigh that aspect, his level of maturity, you know what is going to happen? You are going to scandalize the child. So, oh, mommy, what do you mean? So make sure that you weigh and know how mature your child is. Knowing how mature your child is will help you also to be able to come out with a content, that will go a long way in helping him or her. So get to know his level, before coming out with some conversations. Conversation with your child should be based on stages, step by step. Don't throw everything at your child. 4, do your assignment to know whether he or she knows something about what you want to tell him. Once he or she knows, about that, it makes the work also easier. So find out first. Try to test the water, to know whether he knows, she knows about this thing. So I'm going to tell him or her, this is the right time. So he knows, I have to tell him. That is how it works. Maybe she herself will bring up some issue about a friend telling her about this. Oh, okay. Then you know that, okay, Maybe she's getting to that age, so I think I have to address this situation at this time. You test the water, you ask some leading questions and see whether he or she knows. Then from there, right time, bingo. So when he or she knows about that particular topic, you realize that it makes your work again easier. It makes your work very easy. So you know the approach to use. You know the methodology to use in addressing that particular question, topic. Use little simple psychology, on them. Use simple psychology on them. That is how you do it. You just wake up and sit down. I'm telling you, as some of us, our parents used to do to us when we were young. Sit down, I'm coming to tell you this today, and come on. The fifth one, you need to prepare yourself psychologically and emotionally for tough questions. Because children of today, we all know, they are just something else. Children of today, they are clever, very clever. So you need to psych yourself up for any eventualities. They'll be asking some question. Your child will ask you some question. You'll be like seriously, when I was even 18 years, I didn't know about this, but you are just 14 and you know about this. And yes, the world is moving very, very fast. We have come far. We have actually come far. So don't be surprised when your child tells you, even takes the conversation and tries to tell you certain things that you know nothing about. So psych yourself up. Grow up. You need to grow up. You need to psych yourself up so it can happen that your child takes the conversation, that becomes the leader, and even telling you things that you even know now, but then when you were his or her age, you knew nothing about. The fifth one is that you need to be ready to answer some questions. Children of today ask questions. Tough one, of course. Tough ones. And you should be ready. Don't feel intimidated when it happens that way. Take your time. That is why you need to prepare. These are the things, some of the things you need to consider before addressing or engaging them in those tough conversations. Now that you are ready, you research into the topic you want to address, you tested the water, everything. What do? Do you just say, hey, come here? You need to do other things. The environment, how is it going to be like? Should it be a noisy environment? Should it be a quiet environment? That is what we'll be addressing in the next segment.